never retire. Oh, turn it up now. Dum dum dum. Ha. Sunrise overcast, trees down here, the morning nice and clear. Yeah. Mark it and touch the camera, say people come and hear. Yeah. On the YouTube channel streaming truth straight through the flame. No fancy talk, just real talk, calling out the game. Me say look how the system does press down on the poor, but we go stand up strong, we go open every door. From the fish market corner to the sell out and free market, and a voice for the people that easy legacy. Mark it on, fire in the wire, light it up, let it go higher. Rhythm pump like the heartbeat, truth burn like fire from St. Lucia to the Virgin Islands. Mark it on, standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight for the people with the truth as we guide. Yeah, we sing it loud, let the whole world see. Freedom for the voice, it that ba 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 ba. Section, people talking every day. Some agree, some disagree, but they still find a way to keep it real, keep it grounded, never sell our soul. Even when the pressure try to take full control. He said watch out, the power like to twist up the truth, but we got the people who are stronger than the proof. Every upload like a spark in digital night, I lighting up the minds so the future stay bright. Mark it down, fire in the wire, light it up, let it go higher. Rhythm up like a heartbeat, truth burn like fire from St. Lucia to the Virgin Islands. Mark it down, standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight for the people with the truth as we guide. Yeah, we sing it loud, let the whole world see. Freedom for the voices, up what ba 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 ba. Hands up now, let the rhythm roll. Feel the bass line deep in your soul. We come together, north, south, east, west. Only unity go past the test. Mark it on, fire in the wire. Light it up, let it go higher. Right the heartbeat, truth burn like fire. Mark it on, standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight for the people with the truth as we guide. One love, one voice, one destiny. Yeah, we play. Ba 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 ba.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is up and what is going on? It's your boy Makidan, the historian, coming to you with another stream for the Democracy Briefing. Before I get into it, I want to say shout out to everybody that's already in the chat. I see my brother, my two STN Sports Talk Network brothers, Juan Claudio, my brother Prize Fighter, aka FBI Prize. FBI Prize, that brother is always ready to put the feds on somebody if he see corruption. Salute the Prize, I respect it. And thank you, man. Shout out to golly. Oh no, I can't do that. No. RGM, yes, that's what I was about to say. Shout out to my brother RGM. I almost forgot my brother's name. That was crazy. Shout out to RGM for the intro. He does great work. And yeah, he cooked up a fire intro for me. So I thank him for that. Let me go to my co-host, AC Aceonomics. How are you, my brother? How you been?
Man, everything's great, man. I just had a slight business scare, but outside of that, man, everything is great. And what I mean by a slight business scare, real quick, is basically because everybody's like trying to do a nonprofit and people are taking advantage of the system. It forced the IRS to make changes, and you take the political aspect of what Trump did to his friends and family. Yeah, things got a little bit sketchy, and I was just waiting for this shoe to drop. It finally dropped. Well, I know I came across the information that let me know this shoe dropped yesterday, and it kind of sent me into a big scare. But hopefully, it doesn't affect me because I'm such a small nonprofit. That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just waiting to hear confirmation back from IRS, and hopefully I'm not affected.
Well, I certainly I'm rooting for you, brother. You already know that. Speaking of a nonprofit, we're gonna be getting into later in the show AAU, one of the big youth amateur sports organizations for summertime and springtime. They are a nonprofit, and they had a huge scandal that just broke yesterday in the Washington Post. The Washington Post and ProPublica reported on it. I did a short earlier today about it. Um, so we're gonna chop that up later on in the show. Very disturbing stuff.
Yeah.
But getting into our first topic, as always, it's gonna be the Iran war of it all. So last week we reported AC uh, that we were basically our long range ballistic missile stockpile was done. It was empty. And that behind the scenes, the Pentagon is kind of panicking. Then we now also find out 1/4 of our Reaper drones, those famous drones that Obama used, to target terrorists all around Yemen and Somalia and all over the place, which was kind of like the biggest symbol of U.S. military might. The fact that they could get you anywhere at any time with one of these drones. 1/4 of them have been taken out. At least 50 of them have been destroyed in this Iran war. That is about $2.5 billion worth of equipment that's going to take to re-up that. On top of this, AC, we then find out Donald Trump. Um, there was last month it was reported when Donald Trump was in Turkey for a NATO summit that there was some type of attempt on his life by the Iranians concerning his bribe jet, the jet that the Qataris gave him. And as a result of that, we then get reporting this week. I said it to you earlier this week that Donald Trump hid in like a catering truck and was secretly taken to another military jet so that he could be flown away. And I want to play this news report just so we can get a little bit more context for the audience and for yourself, and then we'll talk about it.
Donald Trump hid in a catering truck and reportedly secretly switched planes in an extraordinary security ruse prompted by an Iranian assassination threat. In July, the US president boarded one of his Air Force One jets as he left Turkey for the UK after a NATO summit. But Washington Post and New York Times reporting has revealed that minutes after Trump disappeared from the sight of TV cameras, he was transferred to an airport catering truck on the other side of the jumbo jet. These vehicles are usually used to load meals onto planes. This time, officials have confirmed that the truck was used to secretly shuttle Trump to a smaller C-32A plane. A US official told the Post that a credible threat to the US president involving Iran had set the deception operation in motion. Trump's actual location was concealed from journalists and some White House staff who had boarded the Air Force One jet and thought they were traveling with the president. The C-32A carrying Donald Trump landed at about 10:20 p.m. in the UK, and the Air Force One he was meant to be traveling on arrived minutes later. Around 11 p.m., footage shows the US president descending its upper left side steps, having likely switched planes secretly and boarded the jumbo jet from a different door. He then spent some time greeting US service members before walking to the new Qatari-donated Air Force One. It's unclear why the previous version of the Air Force One was also used. Trump said on Truth Social that he would fly on it for old time's sake. On the flight back to the US from the UK, the journalists who said they'd been advised to keep their window shades shut during the flight asked the president why, and Donald Trump said this.
Well, yeah, because you're, probably on a dangerous flight because of the sleaze bags that we have to deal with.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force
Well, I have
One?
a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go.
Of course, the president had actually been on a different plane. The Guardian reached out to the White House and the US Department of Defense for comment, but was yet to hear back at the time we published this video.
So I find this really interesting because, well, firstly, if that was Joe Biden, you remember when Biden fell off a bike and that was like a 4 month, like a half a year news story about how weak he is? I want you to imagine for a second, AC, if Joe Biden launched an illegal war against Iran, was getting his ass kicked, but every other day he's coming out saying, we've destroyed their military, they have nothing left, they're destroyed, we've obliterated them, the war is over, the war is what he said that the war is over 40 times since the war started in March. Okay? And then this fucking guy is cowering in a food truck as he gets shuffled away. And then the crazier part about this, AC, if he really believed that there was a credible threat, he allowed his Secretary of State and over 24 journalists to board that jet, which was reportedly, at least, well, by the way, this credible threat that they're talking about, it was reported to them by Israeli intelligence. And according to the Washington Post reporting, the CIA had low confidence in the threat being credible. But that aside, Donald Trump ran away and was willing to let over 24 journalists and his Secretary of State and multiple members of his staff get in a plane and potentially get blown the fuck up. After weeks and months of saying the war is over and we've won and Iran has no abilities or capabilities or anything with which to strike us with. This dude is a fucking walking, talking disaster. And I'm not going to say, I'm not going to wish or pray or hope anything on him, but one of these days, one of these threats are going to get through. One time they're going to get through. And I'm hoping JD Vance, if he takes the mantle, he's less of a child and less of an invalid than this fucking dude. But what's your thoughts, AC, on the big fat fucking orange dummy hiding in a food truck and then letting a bunch of journalists and the Secretary of State board a potentially rigged jet?
Okay, so I'm going to start out here. And where I'm starting is at the point of absolute exposure. When all of us that watched it was saying, oh, hell no, that shit looks staged as hell, because we can remember it during the 2016, campaign that he went to some state, I think it was in Pennsylvania, but it was heavily a district that Bernie Sanders won hands down. So all of these Democrats and socialists ran towards them, and Donald Trump couldn't go through the front, so he couldn't even enter the building. So they make this dude cross a highway to get away. But then all of a sudden, Butler, Pennsylvania, we have the so-called assassination attempt, to whereas he got shot at, and then you could hear the mic say, wait, and he wants to put his hand up and say, fight. What happened to that guy? That can't be the same guy that is willing to just got shot at, stand up and say fight, and now you're willing to put the lives of reporters and your own cabinet members' lives at stake because you're scared. You're about to poop your pamper. Like, bruh, that's what we've been talking about. And every one of these social media channels that were on in the social media space that were saying, no, let's not rush to conclusion. And there is no, the fire department, the fire chief guy who was killed, his wife saying she still ain't got no answers. They literally shut down the investigation. So now you're going to make me believe that that's the same alpha male. Donald Trump is the same alpha male that's hiding in a food truck? He's hiding in a food truck because they're saying that Israel told him there's a credible, there's credible information that your life is in danger. So what do? You go hide. So what happened to the guy who could stand in front of the bullets, just duck down and say fight? Meanwhile, The American flag, if you notice at the beginning of the video, it's up high. By the time that scene is taken, the flag is lowered into the camera shot. But all of us was talking conspiracy theories. None of us made any sense. We shouldn't be doing this. It was wrong for
Don't forget,
Democrats to talk
he
about
got
that.
his ear blown off, and now if you look at his ear, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it grew
There's no
back.
scarring, nothing.
That nigga's Wolverine. You feel what I'm saying? He's Wolverine. His healing factor is something Charles Xavier would be amazed at. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, when I look at it, it's befitting to the person I always knew this dude was, a coward. When Ted Cruz told you you're a sniveling coward, he should have smacked the shit out you. I guarantee you wouldn't have been president because you wasn't going to talk shit about my wife and talk about, my family might have been X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to call you a coward and then turn around and endorse you? No, I was going to smack the crap out of you and let it sleep. So for me, I'm just
Ted
like,
Cruz, yeah, go ahead.
at the end, I'm just landing it right here. At the end of the day, you just keep getting exposed for the coward you really are. All of that grandstanding alpha male, the age of the alpha male, get the fuck out of here. Nobody trying to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just gonna say Ted Cruz probably has a boyfriend. That's why he probably wasn't really that offended by, Donald Trump talking shit about his wife. And plus, that broad is ugly as hell. Just being respectful. But I'm not. Listen, if the Secret Service, and I respect it, the Secret Service, they have had a bad run these past couple of years. So if they wanted to take the threat seriously and they were giving him advice and telling him that we need to sneak you onto this jet, I get it. I get it. My problem is all the big fucking bully talk you've been sending after Iran, all that big talk. Truth teller, let me see your face in the backstage. Let me see your face before I let you on, brother. Or matter of fact, let me do this. That's my brother Gregory. How you doing, Gregory? BBO.
Got the wrong guy, bro.
I know that's your ass, boy. How you doing, bro?
Hold on, man. I just gotta get up here and say something to you violent niggas. The problem is this. Y'all don't realize that it's not about Trump.
Shut his mic off. How you like that, boy? Yeah. We on my show now. I'm just playing. Go ahead, BBO. My bad.
Hold on.
Bro.
This ain't BBO, bro. This ain't BBO. But I say this, man. It's sad to hear y'all talk like this because we're missing the message. You guys realize that corporate Democrats want us to endless wars as well? You realize that it ain't just Trump. It's not MAGA. It's the Democratic Party too. You guys realize AOC is about to be the new Nancy Pelosi? Nancy Pelosi has made more money in the stock market than anybody in history, other than Warren Buffett. But see, y'all don't want to talk about real corruption. Y'all don't talk about...
Jump into it.
Sam, there's no...
Jump into this, you idiots. Jump into it. Aggressively.
Boss.
Aggressively.
My God.
Aggressively. Run into it. Stupid boy.
A person who likes violence. No matter what the man say, I don't want to see him lose his life. And you got to be an animal to say that.
Well, I want to see him lose his life.
Who said they wanted to see him lose his life? Who said that?
Brother AC said that.
I just said it right now.
Okay.
I just said it right now off of his comment.
Well, listen, AC entitled to his opinions. I think the world would be a much better place without fat orange guy in it. Disrespectfully, fuck him. I don't wish evil on people because karma is a bitch. What you put out there will come back to you. But yeah, I mean, you came up here to pull on Donald Trump. You need to get some Neosporin for your paws, boy. That was crazy. You came up here. The man launches a war. He fucking pardons fraudsters, wipes out billions in restitution, the victims. He sells a crypto coin. Hold on a second. He sells a crypto coin. He pardons fucking people that laundered money to Al Qaeda, and you want to come up here and pull on him till till the cows come home, bro. You are ridiculous, BBO. And then AOC, listen, AOC is not no big bully pulpit type nigga. She actually just got she's actually getting criticized because she's not taking a hardline stance on China. The fuck? I bet. Can y'all hear me?
It's okay if I talk. If it's okay if I talk now.
Yeah. When I'm done, AOC is not taking no hardline stance on China. AOC is not taking no hardline stance on China. Unlike Donnie Boy, who wants to come in starting tariff wars, who wants to blockade Iran specifically so they can fuck with China. AOC is not nothing like a Donald Trump. So listen, go ahead, keep pulling. Go ahead. You want to pull some more? Go ahead.
And I'll say this to that. I understand that you a bad faith actor, and I understand that you and AC get up here and spread, bad faith actor news. The fact is this, bro. There's a lot of people out here suffering. I know you niggas don't care about the American people. What's that noise? Somebody got bad background. What's that noise?
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'll go on mute.
Oh, okay. The thing is this, man. What y'all saying is wrong. It's not about Donald Trump. It's bigger than Donald Trump. Because look at what happened with MAGA. MAGA fell apart. Why did it fall apart? Because the apex, they control the country, man. I had people bleed and die for this place, and I'm not going to let a couple shift. Seven generations have bled and died for. We've been in every war. The Revolutionary War, we were there. The Civil War, we were there. First and Second War, black men died. I don't understand why you got to realize this is our country too. We got to do something about immigration. We got to do something about the CIA running out of control. We got to get real privacy. We don't have privacy in America anymore, but y'all don't talk about that. You niggas talk about stuff that makes no sense, like seeing somebody lose their life. That's sick. That's sick. I don't want to see no violence. It should never be violence in politics, beloved.
So then ask your president. Hold on. Let me get at him with this. So ask your president, the guy you wanted to support and have sympathy and empathy for, why did he kill all of those innocent people in Venezuela? That's number one. Why does he have a Gestapo running around that shot actual Americans? Why is he going after Native American? Why is he going after Haitian down in Florida? You feel what I'm saying? So if this is the case, then you should be 100% against this war that's going on. But at the end of the day, listen, those are black people that are dying as well. So for me, hey, listen, you can come over here and attack it because the talking points are not in favor of the guy you support, or you can just back the fuck up just 1 second, stop looking at the stipple painting and looking at the one dot, and look at the big picture that's being presented in front of you. You cannot in good faith make the argument that you just made, knowing what's going on with ICE, knowing what's going on with Venezuela, and know what's going on in this war. If you can honestly say, you know what, I still made my comment in good faith, then hey, listen, I understand Stockholm Syndrome for real at this point, because here's a black man who's in favor of a German who's actually out here killing and fucking with black people. But this is the guy you want to support and defend. But at the end of the day, bro, not everybody wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Some people tend to sleep a little bit later or choose to sleep in for the afternoon. Wherever you are, and I hope that bed is comfortable, when you're ready to wake up and really see the world, then it is what it is. I was born in an era that said I don't wake up because I never slept. I knew who Donald Trump was way before you even knew he was, because he tried to go after my tribe. So at the end of the day, I'll say this. You can have your argument. I don't respect your argument, but I respect you. And that's where I leave it.
You also forgot to mention, AC, that Donald Trump protects PDF files, but we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave that for later in the show. But BBO,
Can I
you know,
respond?
go
It's
ahead.
not
Go ahead.
BBO, bro. It's not BBO. Show some
I
respect. My name is True, bro. But
whatever
I
you
say
say.
this to what this is what I say to what you're saying, brother. The thing that you're missing is this: black people are losing. Immigration does not benefit the black man, and you know it doesn't. Unskilled labor is what's killing us. We don't have unskilled labor. Our kids don't have jobs to go to in the summertime. Our young men and women don't mind working hard, but you want to tell me people who are not documented should be here and take more resources away from poor black neighborhoods to give it to them? This is our fucking country, man. Fuck you and all these guys that say that they don't want that the black man, this is not our home. This is our home, man. I don't know what the hell is wrong with y'all guys, man.
So I'm
This is
gonna
our place.
stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you
Right.
right there. There's no evidence at all. If, as a matter of fact, the immigrant and the illegal immigrant is a surplus for the United States. They pay more in taxes than they take in federal and state benefits. That's number one. Number two, the fucking jobs out in the fields in California picking almonds in the hot 100-degree sun. Ain't no fucking ain't no fucking young black men and women signing up for those jobs. I forget the name of the dude, but he work out there in Miami. He own a lot of like Haitian food stores. His business is dying because Trump is deporting Haitians and Cubans and Venezuelans, and Americans are not stepping in to take the jobs. The jobs are available. Same thing in your state. Springfield, Ohio. I just heard your governor talking about it, how that town was dying because they could not find young people, particularly young black people, to fill in jobs at factories. So this is like that whole talking point that the immigrant is a net negative for black people. That's just a racist white supremacist talking point that you're co-opting and that you're parroting. There's no evidence for it at all whatsoever. If God could snap his fingers and every immigrant and illegal immigrant disappeared, this country would die. It would die. You would not be able to get food. You would not be able to get your packages on time. Your kids probably would not be able to get good medical care. So listen, you're entitled to your opinion, brother. But just know you are parroting the same talking points of a David Duke, of a Tommy Robinson, that racist over there in the UK. You sound just like them, BBO. And they're trying to get the listen. Once they get rid of the immigrant, once they get rid of the immigrant, go ahead, respond.
This is what I'll tell you. Malcolm X told us in 1963 to beware of the white liberal. Why did he say that? Why did he say that? Because the problem is this: just because they give you a smile and they give you I guess a decent hello, but they give you no opportunities in the Democratic Party. Hakeem Jeffries has done nothing. But Nancy Pelosi was in. Hold on, somebody's audio is messing everything up. Hold on. Nancy Pelosi didn't do nothing for 30 years. She did nothing. Hakeem Jeffries has done nothing. And they got another person who's going to run for office, AOC, who said wokeism is a myth or all this bullcrap. We need genuine people in the party, man. And I'm telling you, man, these like people that have been co-opted and made to make the black man feel less than, it's all BS, bro. It's all BS. from 1940 to 1965, we had more black economic growth than we had in our entire history. How was that? It's because we're not being taught how to take care of ourselves. Too much leaning on the government, too much making excuses. You telling me people like my grandfather who would grab cotton $2.50 a row. You telling me guys ain't willing to do that? That's a lie. I used to catch the bus. To sell cars back in the day. And I just know that you can do it. And
So
the problem
BBO,
is you want niggas to be lazy, you want niggas not to have an identity and understand who we are. And that's what we gotta do. We gotta rise up against people like y'all, man. Because y'all
like
niggas
people
ain't
like
evil,
us. I'm a
niggas ain't
business owner. I'm a business owner. I try to employ people and give them lives and careers. What people hire me for as a consultant is to fix their businesses so their business stays afloat. My clients range from black to Asians to whites to Russians to Jews. So and Hasidic Jews. So here's what I'm telling you, telling you. At the end of the day, I understand business. I understand money. Now I'm asking you, since you made those statements, I'm asking you, are you out here advocating for young people to take some of the money that they have invested and it's still time to research and put your money into the early AI companies. So by the time many of them go public, when they do go public, even if your percentage is point something, it's still hundreds and millions of dollars. So are you advocating for young people to do that? Are you advocating for young people to learn coding? Are you advocating for young people to actually learn the things that the new industrial boom is going through? You mentioned something between 1946 and 1965. Do you not understand that that was an industrial revolution time period? Because we went from the steam engine into gas powered. We were then now doing cross.
No, the Industrial Revolution was in the 1800s, was in the late 1800s.
No, you got it wrong, BBO. Let me finish.
We've had three.
We've had three.
We're in our fourth
This was
industrial revolution.
one of them. This was one of them. And we went from that to transatlantic traveling. You understand what I'm saying? From there, we went into the two-way radio. Remember, the two-way radio wasn't invented till 1940 something, and it was invented by Germans who we were at war with. We couldn't beat two rockets. At the end of the day, bro, are you asking black people back then were investing in things? Black people back then were actually mathematicians. Are you telling young people to go back into that area? Go back into the areas of research and really understanding the black person's physiology, the DNA makeup, because we actually need more black doctors. You feel what I'm saying? To understand how the difference of black people living in a stressful condition affects them differently than a white person living in a so-called stressful condition, because there's still that white privilege. So I'm asking you, brother, are you out here advocating, or are you just out here being a populist and telling us what's actually wrong, like you've done ever since you popped up here? We have not heard not one solution-oriented thing that comes out your mouth. Yes, I do agree with some of the things that you complained about, but at the end of the day, I'm actually a person who's saying to myself, when you do what you got to do at this last stage, I can easily go out and open a restaurant and be for profit and get my Michelin stars and forget about everybody else. But I'm trying to give something back. Bring brown people into a market that's untapped, that's worth trillions of dollars. What the fuck are you doing instead of complaining?
What I'd say is this: this past 4th of July, we gave away 400 hot dogs. I think we gave away about 50 or 60 steaks, free barbecue for the community. Also had financial literacy on hand, had people teaching people about financial literacy. Also, too, I had a CDL drive. I took young men and women who had their license and we work with them on passing the CDL test. You say, why you say that? Because what they're doing, they're trying to co-opt the trucking industry and trying to say that we don't have enough drivers. We got guys who are not from here taking over trucking, which is the bloodline of this great nation.
AI is taking over trucking. AI is actually taking over trucking.
Hold on. Let me speak.
Hold on, AC, let him finish. Then we're gonna go to Juan to hear what Juan want to say. Salute to my brother Juan.
I get what you're saying about AI. I think AI is bad for the middle class man and woman because of the job that it eliminates. What I'm trying to get people to understand is this: we got to start one thing at a time. A young brother I just talked to, just got his LLC, and I give anything I can to tell these young guys how important it is to get their CDL. Start their LLC. Start doing small trucks, and you can go from $1,500 a week to $1,500 a day to $5,000 a week to $288,000 in just 1 year in trucking. That's with a small cab over box truck. That's the kind of money you can make. My thing is to give real world solutions. The stuff you saying, the highbrow bourgeois nigga stuff doesn't work. I'm talking about for my people from the ghetto. People from the ghetto, we need solutions today.
And you're telling people to go in a direction that's a dead issue.
You said,
go ahead, finish.
I'm gonna say this last point. Because we need to be together, brother. I just think you're on the wrong side of this thing, brother. That's all I'm saying. We got to come together, niggas in Milwaukee, niggas in Cleveland, niggas all around the country got to come together because we need each other to be our best selves. We're getting co-opted at every moment. We got a guy named, what's that kid's name? Myron, who gets up there, plays black on TV, steals from our community, bleeds it dry. People want to talk about our black women, how they this, how they that, they animals, they twerking, this, that, and the third. I'm trying to tell you, man, no matter what it comes down to, we got to come together and we got to build real viable businesses because stuff like data centers, stuff like AI are anti-human. Forget black. A lot of the stuff that they're doing is anti-human. That's why this country has been deindustrialized because people put profit before people's lives. Check it out. The great Ron Perot, when he ran for president, split the vote with Bush 41. Why was that so important? Why was that so important? Because we industrialized our country. Now everything is made over cheaper, but we don't make nothing. You can't be a society if you don't make nothing and don't produce nothing. Look at our buildings. Our buildings look like shit. In the 50s, they still regret tearing down the old Madison Square Garden, tearing down the old Grand Central Station. We're not making anything in America. It's not just about this. And then we got brothers like you with this anti-human rhetoric. I think it's bad. AI is the devil. It'll be the death of us. It'll be the death of us as a nation if we rely on that. Look at those data centers, all the water and energy they use. Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm going to say it like this, and then I'm going to keep it brief as possible. Number one, AI has made huge advantages in studying diabetes. Diabetes is one of the lead causes of African-American deaths in this country. As far as diseases are concerned, it's diabetes because we're not eating healthy. As a chef, I promote local farming. I tell my own children, these remedial jobs that are like truck driving, things that a robot can do and have commerce move 24 hours a day. Those are the first jobs that AI is going to swoop up. Don't even waste your time in there. Understand the companies that produce the AI. It's not being anti-human because there are humans who actually create AI. They are teams. From Grok to every last one of them, there's a crew of humans that develop that software, and it learns from humans. Each time you Google something, each time you search something, guess what? The company that made that AI and those searches put money in that company's pocket. So don't invest. Don't look at AI as the thing I need to learn. Just like I was telling people early on in crypto, fuck the coin. Invest your money into the company that created the coin because that's a safer bet. That's where the millionaires and billionaires put their money at. They don't buy the coin. They put money into the companies. If you put your money into the company, then guess what? your profitability and your safety net is increased. It's the same reason why regular people play the stocks. Millionaires and billionaires fuck with indices, that Nasdaq, S&P. They fuck with those because within that index, if you put your money into transportation index, everything from planes, trains, buses, cars, whatever, you make money off of that. So you can't tell me I'm inhuman because my understanding of these type of things, that's my wheelhouse. That's why the direction I give people and my record for those people who followed my advice. I am not a millionaire, but I've created so many millionaires. And when I do what I'm trying to do right now, I'm projected just by looking at my research and studying the market, I can make $1 billion in 1 year. What can I do with that $1 billion? Let me see. I can buy up all of this property that exists in Brownsville. I can now turn all of that into low income apartments. I'm doing the same thing that these other billionaires are doing, but they're turning the properties into luxury parts. I will be turning it into affordable housing. The same thing man dummy can't do. So for me,
What I would just say to BVO, and listen, BVO, I agree with you on a lot of things. That yes, black people should work as an
Not
economic
BBO. It's
unit.
not BBO.
Man, whatever. I'll start calling you Gregory, brother. Whatever, truth teller, whatever you want to call your name. I'll call you Truth. Fine. What I will just say is, I agree with you on a lot of things. Yes, black people should work as an economic unit. When it comes to the immigrants, they have made their own bed. Latinos chose to put this man into office, and a lot of Haitians and Muslims voted for him, and now they're getting sent back and they're getting abused and used. So no, that issue should not be laid at the feet of black people where they come to them and they say, help us, do something. You did this to yourself. Okay, black people do have their own issues. They have their own issues in healthcare when it comes to the maternal mortality rate, when it comes to mass incarceration and legal slavery, when it comes to a lack of healthcare, when it comes to our literacy rates, when it comes to our home ownership rates, all of that. We have our own issues that we need to deal with. And what I also say is, we do not need factories back here. No, the factory jobs are shitty fucking jobs. And the reason why they left is because the unions came along and told them that you have to give up. Firstly, you cannot work people 18 hours a day. You have to pay them a fair wage. And off of that, they said, fuck that. We're going to go to China. We're going to go to Indonesia. We're going to go to India, where we have slavery, where they can pay those people 50 cents to work for 18 hours a day, at 50 cents an hour to work for 18 hours a day. What AC is saying, and listen, I agree with you. I think AI is going to be destructive to a lot of people's abilities to make money and to grow economically. But what AC is saying is, let's get in on it now. Let young black men learn to code and learn to program their own AI right now. Okay, not let's get behind the 8 ball and then 30 years down the road we're all screwed. My adopted son, and Warren, you've been waiting a long time. I'm gonna let you come in. My son, Isaiah, math genius. Boy is 6 years old. He's doing fifth grade level math. Not very so. He's like an Elon Musk. I teach him the code. I put a little keyboard in front of him and I put on those tutorial videos, and he eats it up. On top of the fact, I have a life insurance policy, and I have multiple properties that I'm gonna pass down to him, and I got my own LLC. I literally got Marky Dan Corp in the Virgin Islands. Y'all can look it up. I got my own real estate brokerage. So I agree with you. Wealth needs to be saturated within the black community, and I just think we disagree on how we get there. I think CDLs, all of that, eventually they're gonna replace those with robots, because they've done the research on different like Waymo cars, and essentially they've seen that Waymo that autonomous operating vehicles, they have less accidents and mortality rates than human drivers. So that's gonna be gone one day. So let's get in on the fourth industrial revolution right now. I agree with AC on that. Juan, coming to you, my brother. Do you have any thoughts on this discussion we were just having. You got any thoughts that you want to add?
Yeah. Shout out to both the chef and Mr. Truth Teller over there. But what we are missing in America, right, is most people, right, like BVO or Truth Teller was saying, most people don't realize that most of the that we are having are shit jobs. That's just like you said. Most of the black, the Latin, the Muslims, most of us, we're working in warehouses, right? I'm a warehouse supervisor right now. And to tell you the truth, right, all the money that we get and we distribute back to the company. I was talking to my friend the other day and I said, you know, I should have been a dummy and should have went to trade school for something else than what I went to. And I would have been paid, you know, $60,000 a year, $75,000 a year for any other job. Most people don't want to go to trade school because of this reason why, because they don't want to learn anything. So when you go to trade school, my brother goes to trade school, went to trade school, and he is a propane installer. He installs propane tanks and he does a bunch of things for propane. He makes well over $100,000 a year. So when we have a conversation about why we are struggling as a nation, as basically as everything, we kind of got to blame ourselves. We are a nation that's gotten lazy and relied on a lot of things, right? So for us, we can sit there and say, well, you know, we can go to a temp agency and we can go get a job. Those temp agencies are not paying you your full wage. They're definitely not. So you can be getting paid, yeah, it says $21, but in reality, you really can be getting paid $16. And you getting screwed over and you never know why. Because most people are not intelligent enough to figure out, well, I need to get out of a situation that I need to. I need to make this a stepping stone so I can make myself greater. Most people are not going to understand that, right? And the thing with AI, and I get what everybody was saying, I agree with all you guys as parties, it could be a benefit or it could be a destruction if you let it depend on you, if you're depending on it so much. Well, what Marky said, it is true. A lot more companies are going AI because of accidents, because of drivers falling asleep. It happens. I've been a supervisor here at this job now almost 2 years. I've had 3 drivers fall asleep behind the wheel of a car and trash a truck. So now at this point, we are looking at every option that we can. Obviously, we're going to have to take an incentive. All right, well, do we do the AI trucks? Do we do the certain things so we can avoid this, right? Now, most jobs, yes, are shit jobs. And that's the reason why. It's because they want to bring in AI. Because most companies are not going to pay these guys what they're really worth or whatever wage you guys want to give them. So most people don't understand that. So at the same point, I get what everybody's saying, but my stance is this. If you didn't go to trade school, go to trade school. If you don't learn a trade, you don't learn something for yourself, go to college. Go build yourself something where you know that in a couple years, bro, you're going to be making well over a lot of money. Don't sit there and struggle now because you feel like, oh, well, you know, this is the best it's going to get because they're giving you $25 or they're giving you $26. No, go to trade school. Make a salary job. Make something that where you make your money, you make your money completely. Don't let that get confusing with what they're giving you hourly or even wagely. Own your own LLC. Own your own things. Like BVO said, yeah, go get your CDO. BVO, at the same time, I don't disagree with you on certain things. CDO drivers are getting paid a lot shittier now than what they was getting paid 15, 20 years ago. But when you have certain things, you got to understand these guys are not going to pay us. We have to make our money ourselves. So make our own business.
I just wanted to clear something up that you said, and that's being discussed as well. It's one thing to start your own LLC, but if you do not know how to make money off your LLC and maximize your LLC, then it's useless to you. Because at the end of the day, there's certain things that you can do that can strengthen your LLC from the minute that you form your LLC. Number one, which I know which me, I talk to so many people who have LLCs, and I say, well, did you register with Dun and Bradstreet? You know what they tell me? They say, what's that? And I'm like,
Yep.
you don't know what Dun and Bradstreet is? No, explain to me what it is. Well, just like Equifax and those other companies, this is your business credit profile. This is the company that tells other companies whether your business credit is worth something or not. And you always start with a high level. It's not like you have to build it up. You're automatically entrusted with a high level. It's what you do during business that drags your score down. So if you stay in business and you have an LLC and you're doing well, even if you're making $500 to $1,000 a week or even a month, as long as there's nothing nefarious there, guess what's going to happen? You're going to automatically start to get emails from legitimate companies that's telling you, based on your income or based off your credit report, we can send you 10,000. And if you have 5,000 or 3,000 in receipts or bills or anything, then we can grant you a loan. You got to learn how to really manage the LLC so it works for you. Now, everybody can tell you to go get an LLC, but they can't tell you how to manage it and make money off of it. Once you do your Dun and Bradstreet thing, guess what else is going to come? Registering with NAV. NAV is going to take all of your personal expenses, your rent, your car payment, what you pay in traveling. If you got those receipts, let them go to NAV because you are the LLC. That's what people don't understand. When you first form the LLC, it is you. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. That's what Jay-Z was telling people. So at the end of the day, if you don't know how to manage the LLC, it's useless information to you. You just got it, and you like, yeah, I got my LLC. So what are you doing with it? Go ahead.
But most people have had, right, chances in lifetimes, bro. I know people that I went to school with, right, and I make well more money than any of them that I've known, right. But my thing is this, right? If you don't go to school for certain things, or you don't go to certain places, or you don't even take a learner's class, right? There's real estate jobs where you can take it. You can take a 6-7 month class, take the test, and pass it with flying colors and do well over what you're doing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
how I got that's how I got my real estate brokerage license, Juan.
Most people don't realize that, right? Why America's dying is because nobody wants to do the trade no more. That's the reason why. And when I say by trades, right? Welders. What I mean, welders. You got electricians, plumbers. You have dudes that are mechanics. Most people are not going to school for this. Most people are not going to try to go to school for this. And that's the problem. A lot of people's problems is that they don't want to put in the work to make the money they want to make. And that is the problem. That is the problem. Myself, as a 31-year-old man, I'm thinking of myself going back to school to be an electrician, because I can make well over $100,000 a year if I'm with the right person, or if I'm starting my own business. You gotta have to understand that, guys. This is not gonna get given to us. Most people gotta understand it's not gonna get given to us. So for you to be the people that think that it's gonna get given to us, please, bro, let's wake up from that dream and let's get into reality. America's not made for us. It is not made for us, and it was never made for us. We gotta make it for what it is for us.
I'm in a different space because I feel like this. Because I come from where I come from, our mantra growing up was, as long as they keep printing it, there's a way for me to get it. And as long as money's being printed, I'm not gonna say any one place I put my feet down on, I can't make money. It's not made for me. If it's not made for me, I will make it for me. At the end of the day, what I mean by that is simply saying this. Okay, if I have a passion for skateboarding and I'm an African American and I make money making skateboards, a black brand, you feel what I'm saying, with black superheroes and black things? Yes, I can. Can I take someone that I know who's a welder and say, instead of messing around with a lot of that stuff, can we weld a rail system that can be in anybody's driveway, can be on the block, can be on the sidewalk, and everybody does their little flip kick, get on the rail system, and now you're practicing rail slides. But we're making it the same way that they make home gyms. We're looking at the rail systems and skateboarding to do the same thing. That's a business within itself. You have to when you are looking at futures, when all the main roads are shut off, that doesn't mean every door is closed. A lot of doors are closed, but they're not locked. All you have to do is walk to that door and open it. And that's creative thinking. That's the thing. Everyone wants to tell you the old school way. No, you got to do this, you got to do that. Fuck them trade schools, because if you really look at it, the majority of trades, with the exception of cosmetology and cooking, the majority of them shits will fall victim to AI within the next 10 years. But if you're being creative and understanding where the new business markets are being created, just look, okay, we have skateboarding, we have BMX riding, we have all of these little things that are now involved in the Olympics. They got the X Games. You see the white kids in the rural parts building their own ramps and all of this other stuff. Why can't black folks get into it? Just because you're not into it, that don't mean you can't make money into it. I don't need to be an active participant in everything that I make money in. And that's the way millionaires and billionaires work. They acquire businesses and fold them into a network that only strengthens their network. And this is the way we have to start teaching our youth to think. Don't put yourself in a one box fits all type of thing. You have to be multifaceted in a world that is challenging now between robotics, AI, and the human experience. And if you're not recognizing that there are two other factions that are working against you outside of your race or gender, that it's AI and robotics, then unfortunately what we're saying will go in one ear and out the other, because the problem will be, yeah, but.
Well, what I say, AC, before we move on to the next topic, 'cause this was a great we started talking about the military and we got into a whole host of economic issues. I got a bit of a different perspective. You know, I'm from the Virgin. I'm from St. Croix. I'm the majority. Everybody down here is brown. I grew up. I'm very entitled. I didn't have to pay for school. Literally, I had a $500 a month credit card, and my parents paid all my bills until I was 21, and then I got to move out later on. And I have deeds to multiple properties. I went ahead, took my real estate brokerage exam at licensing and consumer, and I'm a broker now. Like, I sell properties and I make big commissions off of doing that.
Yep.
I
Yep.
yeah. So it's like it's hard for me, like, to try and like co-opt or give my solutions, because I don't even know if like I'm even like experienced enough in life like Juan actually worked more. Yeah, Juan, you gotta go on mute. Golly, Juan, that was wild. Yeah, cause Juan is like you said, he's a warehouse man. He's a supervisor at a warehouse and actually deals with like logistics and how everything gets carried into a certain locale. And then you're somebody from New York. You've been through it all. You're damn near 60 years old, and you've been through the third, and now you're in the fourth industrial revolution. I really just think that if you like, for kids my age, because I'm 26, it's gonna have to be through AI. If you really want to get that generational wealth, if you're not a ball playing type of nigga, like, I seen this kid, I read this Wall Street Journal article. This kid, he just did a startup and he made $50 million in the first 2 years of his startup. And his thing is just an AI pendant. People are so lonely and isolated nowadays. They will pay for a best friend, and it's literally just an AI in a pendant you could wear around your neck, and it talks to you and gives you advice and conversation and whatever. Like that right there, that is a business model anybody could get through with all these lonely punks that be paying money for OnlyFans and crap like that. So I think we got to get in on the fourth industrial revolution right now. And then when BBO came in, just like what AC said, black wealth increased post 1940, post World War II, between 1940 and 1980, and then it plateaued during the crack and mass incarceration era. But it ballooned so much because of the third industrial revolution. And not only did black economic power, economic wealth grow, everybody's economic wealth grew post World War II. So right now we are in that beginning of that fourth industrial revolution, and it's gonna be on our young people to make the decision. And I agree with I think you and Juan agree on this one thing: education is key. You got to learn how these computer systems work. You got to learn how these microchips and memory chips work. You got to learn how you could get in on building those things and producing them to the public. Or you could be, or you, like AC said, you could learn to invest in those things and make money once those things start to boom. But
But you know what's crazy though?
yeah, get your last thoughts. Then I want to move on to the next thing. Go ahead.
You know what's crazy though is that, right? Like I just started like looking into like Bitcoin and stuff like that, but then I'm like, why Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin to me never really like was always the big thing. So now I'm like, let me go into stocks, right? And I got this old dude that I work with. He probably like, I want to say he's in his later 60s, but he's well off. Like he retired from what he was doing. He was an electrician back in the day, but he's well off. He's very, very well off. And he told me, he was like, when you invest in something that you believe that could actually be happy or like really, really good, right? He's like, I invested in Apple when they first opened, when they very first opened. And I believe he's almost a millionaire, or is a millionaire, well above a millionaire. And he lives his life the way that he like a normal person. And when I mean by this, right, don't mean that I mean like, yo, you guys get a bag and you waste it on whatever. Get a bag and waste it on something that's reasonable. Don't waste it on, oh, let me go get some jewelry, because that deprives. That stuff deprives. Cars deprive. Certain things deprive. It's like guns and butter, basically. You gotta have to invest in things eventually, or start investing, so your money can grow itself. Let your money grow itself. You know what I'm saying? Let it work
but
for you.
the problem, Juan, is that a lot of kids my age, what they're doing now, and I read this in the Washington Post, a lot of kids, they're saying that 2 out of 10 kids my age, and their number is increasing, they, instead of going into stocks or crypto, what they're doing is they're getting into the prediction markets on Kalshi. They're doing sports betting. That's how they say, well, okay, we're going to invest this and balloon our money. And a lot of them are getting fucked, predictably. A lot of those sites are predatory as hell. You think you're going to beat the house? You're not going to.
But this is what I mean by that, right? So if you're going to be like, right, I'm going to invest in Kalshi. Cool. You invest in Kalshi. Do you whatever you feeling like, right? But like AC said, AC just said it, guys. If you're going to invest in AI technology, invest in the company. Don't invest in the AI.
Invest in Kalshi.
Invest in Kalshi. Don't invest in anything else. Invest in Kalshi, right? I had stocks on Fanatics. You know, I haven't even touched it. I haven't even looked at that damn thing in years. I haven't even looked at that thing because I knew that was going to blow up. So when we talk about it, guys, we got to talk it like in a smart move. You have to invest your money, watch it grow. Don't touch it. Don't spend every single money that you have or every single chance you get. Don't spend it. Just watch it grow. And when you grow, you get wealth. And when you get wealth, you got generational wealth at a certain point. Work for yourself to get generational wealth.
Absolutely. When you get that money, and you get that credit up, go buy yourself some property. Go get yourself some land. That's the real generational wealth that you're gonna pass down from generations. So, but this is a great discussion on that topic. But I want to move on. Uh, Huge scandal that broke this week, and this is a really important topic because all three of us got kids. AC, I don't know. I think you got grandkids, AC, who might be getting ready to get into sports. Do you, AC? You got any grandkids?
No, no, no. My kids are following my advice and capturing life and saying, listen, I'm not gonna make the mistake that my father made by having kids young and not being fully set in everything that you want to do. Even though the beautiful part was raising them in that fashion and learning them, but moving forward, that's not a good idea with having kids. Make sure you're more
A-
grounded in everything so your kids have the best opportunity,
Absolutely. If
you
you
know.
can't afford them, don't. You can't afford them, don't have them.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
not ready to have them, don't have them. I agree with
Exactly.
you. But I asked the question. My oldest son is 6 years old. Juan just had a little clone himself. I think Juan has an older child. This
10-year-old.
scandal. Oh, you got a 10-year-old. Yeah, so he's right around that age. He might be wanting to get into sports. Literally yesterday, ProPublica and the Washington Post, they broke this story concerning AAU harboring, creating a culture to harbor sexual predator coaches. And this all is happening at the same time. I really sat down and thought about it, Juan. At the same time that this story broke, the past week, what have we been hearing about? We've been hearing
Uh,
about goofy ass niggas talking about we gonna transition to women and play in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Trans women are a danger to young women in sports. They're the real danger. We need to protect our young women. I think niggas like this punk, I'm not even gonna say his punk ass name because he's a Donald Trump cocksucker. I think dudes like this and him and Ennis Cantor, they're being paid off by AAU and amateur sports specifically to take to try
Who
and
the fuck
take
is
the heat
this?
off of this scandal. You don't know what this is? This is
Who?
Royce White. That's Royce White.
Don't Rice White got some shit with like his brain that it don't fucking it's not really functional or some shit like that?
I don't know. He seems pretty retarded to me. I don't
That's what
know.
I think. I think he's like retarded or some shit. So God forbid me. I'm
Probably.
sorry.
That would be the least surprising thing I heard all day. But he came out, said he wanted to transition to be a woman and he gonna join the WNBA and yada yada yada. But I say that because this story came out yesterday, and what it's essentially about, AAU. For those of you who don't know what AAU is, it's the biggest amateur summertime sports organization for minors in the United States. Every major basketball superstar from the 2000s onwards was a part of an AAU team. LeBron, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, Anthony Davis became the number one prospect in the country because he had a growth spurt, and then his AAU team was killing. I mean, just slaughtering stuff out there. And the article goes into detail about how AAU promises that they train their coaches and their staff in sexual abuse prevention. It's an absolute lie. They don't do it at all. They don't even verify that they go and get the training. Then it's like scandal after scandal that gets covered up because they make these young people sign these arbitration agreements where if they get sexually abused, they don't have the right to sue them in open court. It has to be settled by through private arbitration. And some of these stories were truly just disturbing. A young woman, 19 years old, basketball superstar, Gatorade Player of the Year in Nevada. She was sexually groomed by her basketball coach, and then he impregnated her when she was 19 years old. She gave up the baby for adoption. The AAU actually had a board meeting, and they accused her. They said, "Are you mad because he didn't give you X, Y, and Z playing time, or he didn't give you that attention he wanted?" They were taking the coach's side, and they ruled that, well, even if he did have a sexual relationship with you later on afterwards, but there's no relative proof that he groomed you. And they let this guy keep, they let him keep coaching, He sexually assaulted another girl. Another girl from 2005 came out and said he also sexually assaulted me. And they just swept it all under the rug. And this is their culture. The president in 1992, Robert Dudd, this man sexually assaulted, or excuse me, in the 1980s, he sexually assaulted two of his boys that he was coaching on his basketball team. And then he had to resign in 2011. Before he resigned, this fucking guy had a policy where they did no background checks. And they found out a convicted murderer was coaching AAU sports. I want to say that again. Before the year 2011, if you had your child in AAU sports, there is a chance he could have been coached by a convicted murderer on top of a whole list of other felonies they probably weren't checking for. And I bring this up because I'm so sick and tired of hearing politicians, of hearing people in the media use this talking point of, we want to protect young people, we want to protect young women. And then we have Jeffrey Epstein scandals that have been covered up by the media and politicians for years. And now we have this AAU scandal where God only knows how many victims might be out there. They said in the article, AC, and I'll get your thoughts before we move on to the next day, but in the article, AC, it says right now, ProPublica was able to verify that there's at least 8 coaches that are banned by the Safe Sports government agency, which the AAU is not regulated by. So they get to essentially do whatever they want. They're not regulated by statute, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. 8 of those coaches are banned because they were found to have credible allegations of sexually abusing minors. I don't care if AAU has 70,000, 100,000 teams. They have tens of thousands of sports teams out there. Even one child getting sexually abused because y'all didn't do your due diligence, because y'all said, man, fuck it, let them eat cake. Let's open the floodgates. Let them come in, man. We making big bread anyways. That is on y'all. And if these politicians that keep trying to bang this drum about this trans issue, if they really care about young people, AC, and people and whoever's listening in the chat, this is the issue they're gonna tackle. I don't want to hear not another word about trans people. I want to hear lawmakers talking about, we are going to come forward with legislation stating that any league, any sports league that governs minors cannot force these young people to sign private arbitration agreements. That shit has to be done with. Sexual abuse prevention training has to be mandated, not by policy, by statute. And secondly, these people that cover this stuff up, because these people are they're like the new Catholic Church in my eyes. They have a whole system that they've invented to protect the institution from scandal. Anybody that was found to have actually known about somebody sexually abusing one of these young athletes, they need to go to prison. Y'all couldn't get Epstein. Y'all couldn't get the whole host of other goddamn sexual predators that Epstein was messing with. This is such an easy issue, an easy way to strike back at these people. And I want to hear your thoughts, AC. You being somebody who has kids yourself, and I being somebody that have kids. I mean, there was a story in there, AC, about a young woman who was a volleyball player and was sexually molested by her volleyball coach. The volleyball coach took her to an apartment complex and forced her hand to do something to him. And he just went on Mary scot-free, being able to coach in the AAU. That shit hurt me to hear that. to hear how this young woman was not protected in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I want to hear your thoughts, brother. If you have any thoughts on this, go ahead.
Well, for me, I feel like this.
And what's good, TD Sports?
I feel like this. Number one, within their own
AC, are you talking? I can't hear AC.
Yeah, I'm talking. You can't hear me? You can hear me now? I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Okay, I guess my brother AC dropped off to get himself together. But yeah, this is just a very, very, very disturbing story. Okay, here's my brother AC.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. StreamYard
All
been
right,
doing
all
this
right.
sometimes.
I don't know. Yeah. But basically, I'm gonna say it like this. Within the AAU's bylaws, as a nonprofit, and within their board of directors, at the end of the day, if you didn't write within your bylaws that very sort of type of conflict of interest, because you just assumed that anyone who would apply for the job would be squeaky clean, that's your fault. That's your own misguidance on a personal and business level. And for that right there, you should lose your tax exemption status, because to have that many egregious accusations and to be so callous about it, it shows that you're more interested in keeping the good faith image, perception of the company, that you're supposed to be doing all of this because you built this reputation. None of that shit matters. There were, men who abused women who were gynecologists. They lose their license to practice gynecology in that state. And if there were those type of improprieties, then these dudes go to jail as well. At the same time, if you're found to do this, whether you're in a non-profit or for-profit company, your fucking ass need to go to jail, period, bottom line. And at the end of the day, to span the entirety of that program, someone else can come up and do it better. They don't have to name it AAU or AAU 2.0 or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? They can just call it amateur athletic committee or amateur athletic foundation, or however you want to put it. But the government is still saying that there's still tons of money, because I just watched a video on it the other day, and if this was on my laptop and I could share the screen, I would show you the video where the guy is specifically talking about amateur sports and this new classification that came in for amateur sports, and why certain sports teams do not apply for this. But AAU is one of the companies he spoke of. That's why I'm familiar with the topic. And that's why when you're bringing up all of this egregious stuff, I'm like, and they still have their nonprofit? Okay, IRS, what's going on? Federal agents, DOJ, what the hell is going on? There should be a referral from the Department of Justice to the IRS to immediately have their nonprofit status revoked or revoked, until pending notice that this investigation shows that there were no improprieties. Until then, this you cannot do nothing. Unfortunately, all of those kids and teenagers and stuff like that are affected by it. And here's the thing, it has an age limit. It's 18 and under for a nonprofit amateur athletic league to file. You have to be 18 or under. Anything past 18, you don't qualify for it, for the same type of nonprofit status that the AAU has. It's a specific age limit that says it's 18 and under. So that's predatory by nature. The same way they went after priests and stuff like that in churches and all of this other stuff, but at least lock these people up. And I don't even care if they lock the preachers and shit up, because you still committed a crime. And God forbid that shit would have happened to one of my daughters. I got 2 of them. And it's like, bruh, you're not gonna see court. I'm sorry. You're not gonna see court. I'm not just gonna have your life relegated down to, oh yeah, you gotta register as a sex offender. No, bro. That's traumatic to a woman. We're talking about women who may not have babies, women who may not be able to continue on with a stable relationship because of what happened to them in this
Well,
type
one
of
of those
situation.
the girl that got raped in 2005 by the basketball coach, she became an alcoholic and a drug addict,
You
and she
see?
had a baby later on in life that had alcohol sickness because she really just could not put the bottle down.
And
So
that's
this
what
is
I'm
how
talking.
these people destroy lives.
Yeah. And that's the point that I'm talking, Marky. Like, people within the family structure, and it's just verbal abuse from your mother and father. When you get out, you become that parent that was your mother and father, and you don't even realize it. This is a perpetual thing. That this is how dysfunctional societies are created, because the laws won't go after the people who are actually dysfunctional and creating these situations, because they are held at a high regard. They could be a community leader, a religious leader, a politician, a sports figure. You feel what I'm saying? That yeah, he's the college coach, he's the high school football coach, but he's gotten us to 12 championships over the last 15 years he worked for the school district. But then you find out that within that, every one of 8 years out of his tenure, he was messing with some young little boy. Now this young little boy goes to be a domestic abuser or whatever the case he may be, because he never got over
Or a
and
crackhead.
didn't know who to go to tell, because everybody looked at him as a hero.
I can't remember the name. There was a basketball coach that they mentioned who was an AAU coach, and he was a prolific state basketball coach. I can't remember the state specifically. He molested over 400 boys while he was an AAU coach.
That's
And he got
crazy.
convicted to over 100 years in prison back in, I think, 2017 or 2018. I'll send you his name later. But I have no doubt in my mind they can get away with this stuff because they're connected. Okay? All these college scouts, the colleges that send their scouts, they are connected. The AAU execs are connected to the college execs. And the college execs, like the Peter Thiels from Yale and whatever, the tech bros and whatever, they're connected to the politicians. And they're connected to the sports league owners, who are also connected to the politicians, the billionaires. And they say, this is our farm system. This is our farm. And what do they say? What's that old saying, AC? You gotta protect the farm. And
Yeah.
this is what it results in, bro. And it's sad. So many of these stories in here, and then they bring these fucking. I mean, like, you have lawyers who are great litigators specifically because they are bad people, and they are willing to go to places, in terms of like excoriating people in a verbal manner that no decent human being will ever go to. And the way how they sick these lawyers on these young people to scare them away, or to take in like a couple $1,000. The dude that raped that molested 400 boys, that coach, he the AAU, they settled with the hundreds of boys and their families for like a couple $1,000,000, which in total for all 400 of them is like a couple $1,000 each. And it's because they have these high power lawyers that scare the hell out of them and make it known, bro, we're not going to court. We're going to arbitration. And this arbitrator, and they show them their record with that arbitrator, and it scares the hell out of them and say, okay, the guy's going to prison. Let's just take our money and try to help our son and move on with our life.
Hey, listen.
And
I just wanted to come in with this real quick. They scared them by telling them, we dug this dirt up about your parents. And if we put this out there, what do you think's going to happen to your parents? You're
exactly.
too young. You're too young to have any real dirt on you, but they can fuck around and get dirt on your parents. That's what'll scare the shit out of you, because you're like, I don't want to bring my parents down because of this situation. So when it comes down to it, the kid will protect his family first. That's the only thing that
1,000%.
makes sense to me.
1,000%. And I pray for these young people that have been affected by it. Salute to my brother B3 Picks in the chat. My brother B3 didn't go live today. I was looking out for you, but hey, salute to you. I pray for these young people. If there is a higher power out there, I pray for their healing, because this is not right. Nobody has the right to violate anybody, especially a young child who cannot consent and who does not have the knowledge of sexual relationships and interpersonal adult relationships to make safe choices. Y'all are sick. This board, I mean, they had a board set up, AC, where essentially, instead of having they had a board for to determine if they were going to ban a coach, and they had no guidelines set up. They had no rules set up for how they were going to come to or determine if a coach broke or if a coach had credible allegations. Literally in the article, it's a quote. I wish I had the quote on the screen. The woman who was a chair said, "We kind of just went off of our feelings." Wow. If there is a hell and if there's a God, y'all are going to burn there. Y'all have destroyed young people's lives. Y'all are creating, y'all profess to be a factory for excellence. Y'all are creating crackheads and alcoholics and people who are going to go on to abuse people themselves. So once again, but before I move on, man, I had to talk about this, AC. I mean, a new, we had the Catholic Church scandal, then we had the Epstein scandal, and now we have the AAU scandal. And I want to see if, and I'm really looking out, because I keep seeing, like I said earlier, this trans issue get brought up and how it has to be brought up to protect our young women in sports. I'm going to really test that and see if these people really care about the issue of protecting young women, or if it's just about punching down on trans people. And we're going to move on from there. But before we get out of here, AC, I didn't get your thoughts on Nolan Wells last week. I didn't get your thoughts on the young man, Nolan Wells, and what happened to him. Can you hear me, AC? Let me know. My phone is feeling a little bit hot. My phone is feeling hot.
I can hear you.
Okay. Let me talk before my phone start bugging out. Nolan Wells, I'm sure you heard about the situation, AC, but essentially is a young JUCO football wide receiver from Mississippi. Was living out there in Jackson County. Had a whole ton of white friends, which is nothing wrong with that. This is a picture. These are the 3 white friends he had. They did him and these 3 white friends. They went out to an island, which I guess is like a hangout spot for young people in Mississippi, to go and drink and have a good time on the water and whatever. He goes with these 3 white friends. They come back without him. And Nolan Wells' body, I believe it took them a week to find his body. There's allegations, I can't verify this, but there's allegations that the boys scrubbed down the boat before sniffing dogs and forensic investigators could come and do their investigation on the boat. On top of the fact, one of these boys had Nolan Wells' phone, and They lied to the mother. The mother asked, "Do you know where Nolan's phone is?" And he lied. And the mother exposed him because she tracked his phone and she said, "You have the phone." And he had to give it up. And when he gave up the phone, AC, the phone was wiped clean. No photos, no Snapchat, no social media activity, nothing. No text messages between him and these friends who were planning this trip. Nothing at all whatsoever was on the phone. So that is a huge red flag in my mind. On top of the fact, AC, we know the history of Mississippi. We know the history of Mississippi. Just the other day, they found a young black mother hanging. I believe I might be wrong. It might have been in the city of Jackson, but it could have been in the county of Jackson, literally the same county as Nolan Wells. They found a young black mother hanging from a tree. And then we already know, and then it was a couple years ago, AC, they found a mass grave of black people, which I'm not surprised by. I mean, knowing the history of Mississippi, if you throw a rock in Mississippi, it's likely to land on a mass grave of black people. On top of the fact, one more thing we're gonna add on to this. What happened in 2023 in Mississippi, in Rankin County, Mississippi? The Goon Squad got exposed. The Goon Squad, for those of you who don't know, was a squad within the Rankin County Sheriff's Department, and their job and mandate was to terrorize black people out of town. And they got caught. They went to the home of two black men who had just moved into town and tortured them for over an hour, sexually assaulted them, beat them, tied them up, put a gun in one of their mouths, fired the gun, broke their jaw. Thank God he's alive. And all of them were forced to plead guilty. But that's the only case they were forced to plead guilty for. We don't know how many other victims there might be, or how many dead black people they might have actually killed. Because if you're gonna stick a gun in somebody's mouth and actually fire it, that tells me you were trying to unalive that person. And that tells me you're comfortable doing that. You've probably done that before in the past. So I believe that Mississippi has a culture of this type of violence towards black people. So adding all that up, you have a young black man going on a boat with three white friends by himself. They come back without him. That's number one. Number two, you have the phone that the mother exposed that one of the white young friends had. That's number two. The sheriff who's investigating this came out literally before the medical examiner even touched the body and said that he doesn't believe there's any foul play. How the F, as a law enforcement investigator, could you ever fix your mouth to say that before you've even completed your investigation? And then number four, like I just laid out, the state of Mississippi. We know what the state of Mississippi's history is. And I'm gonna come to you, AC. I want to get your thoughts on the Nolan Wells situation and what do you think happened to Nolan Wells?
What I think happened to Nolan Wells is what happened to the guy who went on that fishing trip with Dick Cheney. It's just that simple.
Damn.
They murdered this kid. And because they murdered him, now I watched the playback of what you were saying where you were like, you know, Shorty was liking him and yada, 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 this and that. But
yeah, I completely forgot to mention there was a white girl involved. I completely forgot. So tale as old as time, AC.
Yeah, you were saying that maybe he was in the middle of getting some buns or whatever. They find out after the fact or whatever, or they put two and two together and decide to get rid of him and tell Shorty, listen, you got to keep your fucking mouth shut because all of us will go down for it. So, yeah, that is highly plausible, as well as the many different stories that we heard over years where a group of kids were acting like they befriended somebody only to get that person someplace else and then kill him just because there was no rhyme or reason. Oh, we just didn't like him. I'm looking at it like, okay, if he was the star of the team, star of this, star of that, highly educated and everything else, then yeah, that kind of makes sense to me as well. Because my scholarship or the school I want to go to may hinge on this colored boy getting that accolade that I need. You feel what I'm saying? If that's even possible. But at the end of the day, for me, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you size it up, no matter what you want to say, those kids killed that little boy, and they probably used the young girl's cootie cat to get him up there. And if that young girl is smart, you'll be the one that brings it down, because I think you're the key player. I don't think it would have worked with just the other two guys inviting him on this trip. You needed something to entice him. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where I believe what you were saying was the catalyst to get him to go in the first place. Oh, such and such is coming. Oh, for real? She's coming too? Yeah, she coming. Yeah, she'll be there. She's on the trip. Hey, you going on that trip? Yeah, I'm really excited. Da, 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 da. Got that dude up there, murked him, and then you just break out. How do you just, like you were saying, how do you just leave your friend knowing that he didn't come back? You didn't call the cops. You didn't do nothing to show you were concerned friends. At the end of the day, where's the concern for just the friendship aspect of it? Because he trusted you people enough to actually go on the trip, to go on the trip. So there was something there. Whether the investigation will prove that there was this internal hate or underlying whatever, whether race was involved, that's for the courts to figure out. But if you're already starting out with sketchy evidence, you can't come to the conclusion that these kids are not guilty. There's an obvious cover-up going on here. Obvious. And these kids' parents know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
One of their mothers is a judge.
Oh, there you go.
Small town, yeah, exactly. Small town in the South.
There you go. Enough said for me. Because, just like Lauren Boebert, you ain't really hear nothing about this chick since her son got in that trouble.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
You know what I'm saying?
After years of saying trans people and immigrants are sexual predators and we need to protect our young women, and it was in your fucking house. You were raised a little sexual predator.
Yep. And you see what's going on with him? Look at Nicki Minaj. Both her husband and her brother. She's out here because she's a celebrity. What's really going on with them? Yeah, you got to tell somebody you registered as whatever. That is not a real crime. It's embarrassing, but it's not something that'll be like, yada, yada, yada. He's still going to go and do what he got to do, still live his life and stuff like that. But they're using the platform of their wife, of the dude's wife, and the other guy's sister to step in front of that bullet. You put her in the line of fire to protect your punk asses, and she's a willing participant to say, "I'll step up and I'll take them shots for you." So at the end of the day, people will do what they got to do to protect their families. People will do what they got to do to protect their images or whatever the case may be. And mothers will do what they got to do to protect their sons. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, listen. If people want to run around and make excuses for these young murderers, go ahead and make excuses. But in my eye, I don't see anything different. They are young murderers, and all three of them should go down for two charges. Number one, conspiracy to commit murder, and number two, for the actual murder. Because there is a conspiracy right here. You don't cover up something if there's no conspiracy. They conspired to kill this kid. I don't believe it was something that just happened off of an argument. They had a little bit too much to drink around the campfire, beers. Dude walks off. The other guy says, "I'm gonna go talk to him." Then they start arguing, and it was a mistake. I just hit him with the rock because he wouldn't. He said he was gonna tell on us. Gonna tell on you about what? So yeah, me, that's where I land on it, bro. This is a conspiracy. The town, the sheriff, everyone involved in it. You should go down. Whether that's losing your job, losing your career, losing your pension, spending at least 90 days in jail, or whatever, even more time, because you're conspiring to cover up the fact that a young man, regardless of race, had all of this promise, and y'all stole that from him. You stole the fact that one mother and one father can look at their child become everything that they thought their child was gonna become and more. You robbed them of those life
AC,
experiences.
you're older than me, so you've raised the children to 18 years old. I cannot imagine raising my child to 18 years old, and then some fucking somebody takes his life. Firstly, if my son leave on a boat with three fucking white boys, and y'all come back without him, everybody has forfeited their life.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
Because I'm going to get answers. Fuck a court. Whatever happened to my son, or
You
like
go.
what you said earlier in the last topic about if somebody took advantage of one of your loved ones. What you did to my child was the law of the jungle.
Yeah,
I'm going to reciprocate with the law of the jungle.
my child. I look at it like this, and hopefully people can put this in perspective. When your child goes out like that and somebody does that to your child, what hurts the parent the most after all the years of raising your child, what hurts you the most, the part that your mind can't get past, is that your child passed away in fear and alone. No one was there to protect them. That part of fear, that part of being alone and no one being able to protect them, that's the part that breaks you down, because you're like, I could have been there. I wish I was there. I wish I knew where they were. Because you're like, you look at your child and you look at the past and when they laughed and when they were little kids and you had a little snake or a spider and they're like, no, and they're all freaked out over it. That translates into the older child screaming for help while they're being murdered. And you try to think, what was those last thoughts? That's the part that as a parent, you just can't get by. My child died in fear. And you caused that. Now, you're going to go out the same way you did my child. Biblical, motherfucker. An eye for an eye. Thou shalt not ill someone. So at the end of the day, I have every right within biblical law to do as you've done to my own child. So prepare for it. And if they're in your home, your parents better not stop me. They better not. They'll be like, well, he's right there. Do what old boy did with John Wick. His son violated John Wick, and he couldn't do nothing because he knew his son was wrong. So, right. At the end of the day, listen, that's you're not. there is no court for
One of the
them young
most
monsters.
one of the most powerful things I ever seen in my life, AC. My mother was she was assigned a case pro bono, and essentially it was a young Arab man who had took the life of a young lady that he was essentially betrothed to, because he just had that, machismo. You ain't gonna say this to me, you ain't gonna say that to me. And I guess she decided she wanted to do a yoga class. And it wasn't like she was wearing anything too revealing, but he was just so controlling. His whole thing was, how dare you expose any part of your body out there in the public, because they were doing yoga in the park. And he yoked her up and he broke her neck and unalived her. And I will never forget, because I was sitting in the room with it when I was sitting in the in Golden Grove correctional facility, where my mother asked me to come because I was taking notes for her as they were talking. And his father came in the little room they had for us, and he stayed. It was really short, AC. He walked up, he stood over him, and he said, "I disown you. You are nothing to me." And he walked right out. And that was that. If my child ever did something like this to another human being's child out of jealousy and envy, I would pray that I had the integrity and the character to do that. Because I am not raising anybody to be evil or malicious to any other human being. Now, I want to move on, AC. We're going to remain on the Nolan Wells topic. But, 1 second. Got some background, AC. But we're going to remain on this. But I want to talk about what Tommy Hill brought up in the chat. Tommy Hill brought it up right here. He says the people helping them cover ish up happen to be black, which is most disgusting. And I agree. And the guy that I'm thinking of immediately is Officer Raccoon Brandon Tatum. Officer Tatum is a race traitor. He is the definition of a Sambo. Okay, people like to talk about Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom in Uncle Tom's Cabin was a good guy who sacrificed his life to help slaves escape slavery. And Sambo was the master's hand-picked coon who would beat the slaves and who would rat on them. And he beat Uncle Tom to death. That is who Brandon Tatum is. He is a Sambo coon. When Carmelo Anthony was going through his situation, it wasn't no innocent until proven guilty. He did, how dare he bring this knife to this track meet? Austin Metcalf, it doesn't matter if he put his hands on him. Carmelo Anthony's a menace to society. He deserves no mercy at all whatsoever. It's a young boy. But when it comes to these it's 3 white boys that went on the trip with him, he is their advocate. And I want to play you just a piece of the interview. Brandon Tatum, and there has been a concerted effort against Carmelo Anthony's mother. Somebody filed a complaint against her at her job. I think she works as a CNA nurse, where she has a spotless record, over 18 years, never one complaint. Soon as her son gets murdered, an anonymous complaint comes out of nowhere. And then he brings these 3 white boys on his podcast to impugn the name of Nolan Wells' mother.
How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
So, first off, I wish that none of this would ever happen. I wish Nolan could still be here with us today. But other than that, I feel like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think if those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral.
And this goes back to what you just said, AC. These are not Austin Metcalf's friends. Firstly, speaking as an island boy, we have Buck Island, we have Green Key, and we have Hotel on the Key. And we do fishing all the time, literally from the time I was young. There is not no world where me and my friends go out on a boat, we head to Buck Island, and then, oh, well, he decided to take a boat with somebody. That does not happen. We came on this boat together, we're leaving together. And then you have the nerve to fix your mouth to say that it's Nolan Wells' mother's fault that there's so much media attention covering this. Listen, these are not his friends. These people are his enemies. And they're doing everything they can to drag his name and to ensure that he stays dead. What do you mean? It's their fault that there's so much media attention. There wouldn't be no media attention if you had stayed, if quote unquote, y'all had stayed with your friend and not left him there. Or better yet, in my opinion, if y'all didn't murder him, there wouldn't be no media attention on this. And then you got this coon, Brandon Tatum, who will amplify that message. And then it further goes on, AC. He went on to Nancy Grace. By the way, Brandon Tatum likes to try and he's trying to get into the true crime genre, and he's trying to say, oh, well, I was an officer for 6 years, so I would know about investigating. This man was a fucking beat cop. He was a bicycle cop. He was one of them motherfuckers who checked the meters. Never got promoted to investigator, never was a detective. He goes on Nancy Grace, and Nancy Grace makes a fool out of it. Shout out to Nancy Grace, the legend, still doing her thing, man. I love Nancy Grace from the time I was young. I remember some of those really disturbing cases Nancy Grace used to cover. And Nancy Grace just made an absolute fool out of him.
Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer. And they cooperated with law enforcement. So from my understanding, everybody took a polygraph test. Why do you say that's
from what you understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and passed?
Yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there. So that's what I'm saying from my understanding. They told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lie detector test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lie detector test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's not a traditional lie detector test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
Did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics, because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum.
So the answer is no. They did not take a polygraph. They took some type of voice tone measuring test, which experts all around the place say it's bullshit.
I just want to come in and point this fact out in what you just said, because I'm always a stickler and tell people words matter. Notice the fact that he keeps saying all of them, but he's only talking of one person, but he keeps saying all of them. But then he says, but there was only one person that actually took the polygraph. But from my understanding, all of them. And he keeps trying to exonerate all of them in the mere fact that all of them didn't take this test. So why do you keep saying all of them? What does all mean to you? And sometimes you just gotta, that's the best way to check somebody, is to say, okay, this is what you keep saying. What does this one word mean to you? Because all is if there's one person involved and one person took it, then that's the one person we're talking about. That's the all. If it's three individuals involved and only one person did it, that is not all. Like, what math are you working with, sir? It's that tells me you're cooning, because you're not being honest in the word you're using to describe the situation. And then when confronted on, did they tell you, all of them tell you that that they all took this polygraph test? Yes, all of them said it, but only one did it. All right, Officer Tatum, I'm gonna ask you again, what the fuck does the word all mean to you? I'm not gonna let that man get away with keep saying all when all is not the reality. And it could be something and say, oh, well, you're arguing semantics. No, I'm arguing clarity. I'm arguing the facts.
Yes.
All of them did not do it. All of them did not do it. Only one did it. And it wasn't a real polygraph. So stop with this.
And Nancy, obviously being a former prosecutor, a longtime prosecutor, just absolutely fucking tore him to pieces the entire interview. At one point, he tried to do the thing where he smiles after he says something stupid, and she tells him, "Wipe that smile off your face. That's not working on me." She actually told him that. Listen, so it continues, and the man is just a straight up liar, straight up blatant liar, and his job is to defend white people at all costs in the media. He's just like the definition of I mean, he went to Israel, AC, and an Israeli child spit on him, and then he went and said, "Israel's a beautiful place. You know, it's great. You know, the people were so nice. I only had one person spit on me." What the fuck? I've never heard no shit like that in my whole life. I'd have been to places where they made me stand outside too long to wait to get inside, and I said that's not a nice place. These fucking people spit on you. And it goes on, AC. Nancy fucks him up and catches him in some more lies.
But Nancy, it's unclear exactly what the mother is articulating, because at one point she's concerned that there's not a lot of Snapchats or social media posting. She did not articulate, or the Benjamin Crump did not mention that there's nothing on his phone. So they're not saying that the phone was wiped and there's no images or anything. She was concerned about his social media frequency, which I believe, after talking to the boys, it was consistent with what they said, and it was consistent with basic deductive reasoning that maybe he didn't post a lot on that day. So what remains a focus for me, and if I was investigating this
Not
case,
talking about
I
posting.
would want to know.
Not talking about whether he posted, officer.
No,
he didn't
what
even
I'm saying
take
is
anything.
that
there's no pictures. There's no anything.
That's what the mom is saying, but we haven't had an opportunity to either see or hear exactly what she's trying to articulate. Some of the things that she said in the media is that she's talking about posting. I don't believe she said that there was nothing at all on his phone, no pictures, no nothing. But I wasn't able to verify that. So if I was able to see Nolan's phone and the mother was able to show me exactly what she's articulating, I'll be able to have a better perspective in comparison to what Warren and the other boys were telling me. So at this point, I only have one side of it, and then I have a fractured perception from what the media or what the mother is saying in the media. So when the police officers look at his phone and they do a forensic extraction, if they're allowed to do that, they will see plainly if Nolan was on his phone, if he had taken pictures, and if they were deleted. Now, I'll implement this as we begin to try to guess and figure out what was happening on that day. It doesn't seem to be reasonable to suggest that the boys were in his phone deleting things. Now, after hanging out with the boys and getting to know them well, they're very intelligent young men, very savvy, and they were raised well. I would project, if I were to make an assumption, that if they were trying to cover up something that happened to Nolan, I would perceive that they would throw the phone in the water or something where it never would be recovered. Or if they had access to get into the phone, they wouldn't just delete, they would just completely rewrite the phone or, do a hard reset. Or they wouldn't give the phone back to mama or the family anyway. So with those factors put in place and what I've talked to them about, it seems as if their story seems consistent to me, that they did not get in the phone. They did not know his password. They had no reason to believe that there was a necessity to get in the phone.
Officer,
and they gave it over to the family.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I'm not taking anybody's word for anything until I investigate it and corroborate it. Again,
that's fair.
Maybe they're completely innocent. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Or maybe someone else had something to do with Nolan's death. I don't know, but I will find out. And you said, I don't know what she said exactly. Well, here is what Nolan's mother said.
When we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed, hey Ma, come on, take a picture of me. That was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts.
What?
So everything he just said plainly was contradicted. The mother very clearly stated there was nothing in her son's phone from that day. Nothing at all. And I just find it so disgusting. This dude tries to present himself like he's an honest journalist, but he's not. He's not an unbiased, good faith actor just trying to find the truth. He is an advocate for these young men. He acts like the idea that they might have done something is impossible. He acts like it's impossible that there might be foul play involved in this case. And then again, he impugns the name of the mother. He impugns the name of the mother by stating that she's coming out with statements before the police do a forensic extraction on the phone, and that I sat down with the boys and they seem so intelligent and they were raised well. I mean, I just can't imagine they would do something like this. Boy, listen, I'm gonna let you come in and get your last thoughts, AC, but Officer Tatum, like I said earlier, I don't wish evil on people, but I believe in the power of karma. What you put out in the universe and in the world is gonna come back to you. Officer Tatum is the father of black children. I pray with all my heart to that intelligent creator, if he does have a hand in current events and in leading the world and whatnot, I pray that his children, Officer Tatum's children, are never reminded in the most brutal way by this country that they are black, that they are not whites, that this society is not colorblind. I pray that they are not reminded of that in the most brutal way, because their father continues to put out this I'm gonna call it what it is, this evil energy for his own people. And it went on and on. AC. I mean, he also got caught in another lie when he stated that there's no signal on the island, so Nolan wasn't able to take pictures and send texts and whatnot. And that's why there was no text between him and the boys. Then Nancy caught him and said, "But hold on, didn't you have a Zoom call with a media affiliate from the island?" And then he realizes, "Oh shit! I didn't say no signal. I meant there was very little signal." And then she said, "No, you said there was no signal." And then he said, "Oh well, I was mistaken. There was very bad signal. That's what I meant to say." You're a fucking coon. You are a coon. And once again, I say, I pray for the sake of your children that they are not shown in a real way or reminded of their skin color in this country. And go ahead, AC. You got any final thoughts on Officer Kuhn?
Well, I'm gonna say it like this. Number one, if you hard reset someone's phone, especially if they have an iPhone, officer, then you would know that's how you wipe the phone clean, because it's going to ask you to set the phone back to its original settings. So anything you have saved is gone. That's how that works. So you just told everybody, the ways that they did it. Number two, the question I would tend to ask is, how did they even make that possible? Because if it's an iPhone and it's a new iPhone, you got facial recognition and you have to use one of your fingers. You feel what I'm saying? So if they got into his phone, they had to have done it some way using his body.
Firstly, if they unalived him and they had his dead body, they can use his face and his face.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the point I'm making. And to say this, you're handling that dead body to do other crazier stuff. It's like you feel what I'm saying? I'm not doing stuff like that.
Like there's some really devious shit.
Exactly. And it's like, no. Now here's the other thing. This is the same guy who came out and was definitive that George Floyd was a criminal. The same guy who was definitive about the family of Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend, and they were definitely selling drugs, and they were not. The police were at the wrong address. No, but according to the neighborhood, my understanding is that the block and the houses before, all three of the houses were involved in some sort of drug dealing. You were trying to make that stick. You were the same guy who said that.
Don't forget, he said Breonna Taylor deserved what happened to her because she was dating a thug.
Exactly. And then he was the same guy who said Renee Nicole did try to hit the officer who unalived her. He's the same guy who said that the Marine veteran did pull his gun and was going to shoot somebody because he was waving the gun around. You just made up facts.
And you remember what he said about Ilhan Omar when that dude came and sprayed something on her with a syringe? He said it was a faked attack. And this is clearly staged. Man, my years as an officer, a fucking mic cop, my years as an officer, I've never seen somebody react like that to an assault. And then literally the segment before on Piers Morgan, he's crying because people are talking about was the hit on Donald Trump staged. This guy's just a fucking coon. Like in 30 years when my children start to get into race politics and learning about race relations and whatnot, and they ask me, grandpa or dad, what's a coon or a Sambo? I'm gonna show them Brandon Tatum.
Yeah. I'm gonna show. Here's the real life version of one, and here's Uncle Ruckus. That's the animated one. Now you tell me what's the difference between the rhetoric that they both say. Because if a black person is killed by a white person, he is going to ask this question first. Well, what did the black guy do to the white guy?
Bro, I remember there was an episode of the movie. I wish I had the clip where a black man was on trial and it was clearly like he was not guilty. Or it was like back in 1940 whatever. And before they even question the jury, Uncle Ruckus get up and he's like, guilty, guilty, that nigga is
That
guilty.
motherfucker guilty. His black ass is so guilty.
That's Brandon
It's on
Tatum, bro.
Yo, I was dying on
That
that
nigga
episode.
is guilty.
For me, at the end of the day, bro, it just comes down to this. You just want to be that guy. You are happy being that guy. For whatever reason, you found a nice, comfortable space in self-hate. That's the way I'm going to look at you. You may not feel that way. You may feel like, look, at the end of the day, I sleep extremely well at night because, I'm distinguishing myself from them. And then a person like me or you would look at him if we're talking to him and be like, can you define them? And he'll be like, you know who I'm talking about. No, I don't. Them, those people who do this and the ones who are involved with crimes and drugs and stuff like that. And we'll just look at him and be like, you are a real piece of shit. I know you're a huge disappointment to your mother and your father. That is
Hey,
just
and
the bottom line.
that's even more funny. He likes to say, to repeat what Charlie Kirk said, oh, black people were doing literally what BVO just came up here and said. And I was going to smack BVO down about that, but I let you and him cook. He likes to repeat that Charlie Kirk talking about black people were better off in the 1940s. The black family was so much more connected versus what it is today. That doesn't mention fucking the crack era, which was a CIA operation to flood black communities with drugs. Doesn't mention the mass incarceration bills that separates, that made a distinction between crack and cocaine. Don't mention none of that. And then it's so funny, AC. Brandon Tatum is married to a white woman. And he talks this shit about we would be better off in segregation in 1940. Motherfucker, they would hang you from a tree if they caught you with that white woman. They would literally string you up in a tree. So I just can't. So I wanted to come on here and make sure we got our thoughts off on Officer Coon Tatum. I pray we're probably gonna talk about him at some point again in the future, but I pray not for a long time. Just a despicable individual. And I pray for his children. I ain't gonna pray for him, but I'll pray for his children. But AC, it's a great show. Thank you for being up here with me, my brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. We're gonna be back next week. Shout out to everybody that came through in the chat. My brother Tommy Hill, Vacay Bay, my brother BVO, Juan Claudio, everybody that came through. I appreciate Prize Fighter, FBI Prize. Appreciate all of y'all so much. I'm less than 50 subs away from 500. YouTube, I think, kind of has to be shadow banned. I've been noticing my shorts. Usually my shorts do between they do hundreds to thousands of views. Man, it's been no country for old men. In these past couple shorts I've been dropping, it's like I'd be lucky to get 10 goddamn views the way how YouTube treating me. But
I forgot this point I wanted to just kind of bring up.
Go ahead before we go. Go ahead.
Put people's light to it. This administration, Tom Homan and the bald-headed little weirdo dude, just allocated millions of dollars for ICE to wear these electric gloves.
Yeah, I saw it.
So just understand, when you do the research on these gloves, you're talking about giving these gloves to dudes who can't count to 20, to actual criminals. And they're allowed to use these gloves and grab you for 15 seconds. 15 seconds of a high voltage charge is enough to unalive you. Just count out to yourself after we get off, put your stopwatch on and look at 15 seconds, but look away and just listen for the beep. That's how long they're allowed to hold you with these gloves on. That's shocking you. So just put that in mind and keep that in mind.
And keep in mind, the guy, the ICE agent that shot the Colombian father up in Maine, AC, we've now heard some things. He has a long history of domestic abuse against his ex-wife and his child. His own mother has completely disowned him. That's who you're going to be giving these shot gloves to.
And that's why I'm saying it's extremely important for Americans to make sure when you go to the voting polls that, you know, the police, you're putting in petitions to the police, the mayor, you know what I'm saying? All these type of agencies, even agencies that investigate the police, you're putting in all of this paperwork to say, listen, y'all need to do something about this because ICE will show up at the polls, because they're trying to say that they will show up at the polls to make sure there aren't any illegals voting, because they're trying to tell people we already have records of illegal people voting. Look at California, look at New York. So they're going to put them in these states in 2026, even probably in 2028. So they got billions of dollars or $1 billion in their funding, and they're going to allocate millions to these gloves. That's all I'm going to say. And at the end of the day, I'm going to keep saying it. Your Second Amendment and Bill of Rights are your best protection against ICE. You have to challenge the court. And at the end of the day, challenge them, because they wear no body cam. So it's your word against theirs. And who has the absolute video proof record of doing fucked up things? They do. That's all I'm going to say. And that's where I end the great show, Marky.
I appreciate you, my brother. To everybody watching, please smash that like button. Please subscribe. Give the Democracy Briefing your support. I love talking news. I love reporting on the news. I love talking about it. I love breaking it down. I love doing it with my OG, AC, my co-host. And we going to be back next week. Y'all take it easy.
Fair use disclaimer. This video is for educational, commentary, and news reporting purposes only. It may include short clips, images, or quotes from third-party sources related to politics, news, and sports, which are used under the principles of fair use as outlined in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act. These materials are not intended to infringe on any copyrights and are utilized solely to provide analysis, criticism, or discussion on public interest topics. No copyright infringement is intended.
From the island breeze to the big world wire, market and on the mission, yeah, we never retire. Oh, turn it up now. Dum dum dum. Sunrise over cast trees down here, the morning nice and clear. Mark it and touch the camera, say people come and hear. On the YouTube channel, streaming truth straight through the flame. No fancy talk, just real talk, calling out the game. He say look how the system does press down on the poor, but we go stand up strong, we go open every door. From the fish market corner to the east side, loud and free. Market and a vice for the people that easy legacy. Market on, fire in the wire, light it up, let it go higher. Rhythm pump like the heartbeat, shoot burn like fire. From St. Lucia to the Virgin Islands. Market and standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight fight for the people with the truth as we guide. Yeah, we sing it loud, let the whole world see. Freedom for the boys, and that ba 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 ba. In the comment section, people talking every day. Some agree, some disagree, but they still find a way to keep it real, keep it grounded, never sell our soul. Even when the pressure try to take full control. He said, watch out, the power like to twist up the truth, but we got the people who are stronger than the proof. Every upload like a spark in digital night, I lighting up the minds so the future stay bright. Mark it down, fire in the wire, let it up, let it go higher. Rhythm come like a heartbeat, truth burn like fire from St. Lucia to the Virgin Islands. Mark it down, standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight for the people with the truth as we guide. Yeah, we sing it loud, let the whole world see. Freedom for the voices, up, ba 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 ba. Hands up now, let the rhythm roll. Feel the bass line deep in your soul. We come together, north, south, east, west. Only unity go past the test. Mark it on, fire in the wire. Light it up, let it go higher. Right the heartbeat, truth burn like fire. Mark it on, standing up for you and me. We no bow, we no break, we no bend, we no hide. We fight for the people with the truth as we guide. One love, one voice, one destiny. Yeah, we play. Ba 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 ba.